Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Serie A Fantasy. We are here with the Game Week 7 preview video. For once, I can actually show you what the team's kind of looking like because it's not a right away game week kind of thing, just like the last couple have been. We'll see what the transfer plans are as well going into the game weeks. I haven't used it yet. I'm pretty sure I have an idea of what I want to use, and maybe I'll have a few suggestions for you if you're thinking of also moving a midfielder who I am thinking of. Okay, so first, obviously, Zoet Lazzarini, same kind of story, injured, sticking with Zoet. Just going to quickly brush over that every single preview video, but he's there. Then the defense, we have a relatively good chance at some clean sheets in defense here. Karsdorp with Roma facing Empoli. Good chance of a clean sheet there, as well as potential attacking return. Napoli is about to start facing a bit of a harder opponent this week. They've really been piling on the goals lately. And I think with Fiorentina having a good kickoff to start, I do think that they have a bit of a harder time scoring this week, but we'll see. Osimhen, Insigne, Rui have all been on point recently, so maybe they can keep that up. Molina for Udinese, assuming that he starts, hopefully in more of a midfielder role, which is why I brought him in, as well as his value. But Udinese can see a clean sheet against Sampdoria, and hopefully some Molina attacking returns. And Cambiaso facing Salernitana. Again, that's the team that if you don't think that you can get a clean sheet against them, you really don't think you can get a clean sheet against anyone. So I'm really hoping that some attacking returns from the defense come, and there's a chance for a clean sheet in all of them. I'd say Napoli has the hardest fixture out of all of my defenders. Going forward, until he messes up, I'm sticking with Barella. Even it's against Sassuolo, generally a tougher mid to higher mid-table team. I'm going to keep him in there, hoping he can keep up the 100% return rate per game week. Obviously, Insigne is going to get in there, just coming off a game where he scored a penalty. So knowing that he's the penalty taker just adds to his value. And so obviously he can score from open play. He's been getting a lot of assists lately as well. And if there's a penalty, he's going to be taking it. So I'm happy with him. Dybala is the man that's going to be getting transferred out this week. Just makes sense. My decision this week for transfer out was pretty easy based on the injury he picked up against Sampdoria after just scoring. I felt bad, was waiting for him to score that goal. Finally got it, but the injury is going to have me transfer him out. And while doing that, likely I'm going to be saving a bit of money as well in the bank, get a cheaper player that's also doing well, and maybe be able to upgrade somewhere else. Forwards. We have our three forwards, all of them starting. We got Osimhen, who's been playing amazing, hoping for more goals and assists from him. Immobile, who's likely to get my captaincy this week, playing against Bologna. He's been playing really well, got 2 assists last week, scored a couple of weeks before that. No regrets on him either. I'm just hoping Leao can finally start playing. He's been struggling in Serie A the last 2 weeks. Did score against Atletico Madrid in Champions League this past week, so hopefully he carries that in. Got a tough matchup against Atalanta. Just before that, I'm kind of still deciding who I want to start between Leao and Ravella, because I think if Ravella hadn't gotten that assist last week, I wouldn't even be considering it. But just because it's against Salernitana and he did get an assist, proving that he can get attacking returns, I'm kind of flirting with the idea. But I think Ravella will be in my first bench spot because I just don't think he's a good enough player to take a chance to go over taking a chance with Leao at this point. Okay, so that's my starting 11. Mela and Palicic see the bench again this week. They haven't been starting. They haven't really been producing, so they're going to see the bench, and they may end up being some transfers out in the future. Going to my transfer plans now. So we already know that it's planning on being Dybala. And I have 4 people who I'm kind of thinking of right now. And if you're transferring out a premium midfielder, that I'd say Dybala is kind of a fringe premium midfielder compared to the other price of the premium of the midfielders in the league. And Insigne, I think, is the most expensive. But 3 of them are at the top here. And one of them doesn't have as many points, but I'll explain why. So Vertu, he the reason that I didn't get him is because as far as like where it kind of shows he's starting and playing, doesn't seem like as an attacking role, but he's clearly been getting forward. He's kind of been like a Barella, whereas he's not necessarily an attacking midfield or something, but he finds ways. He plays great balls. He gets in there into the box and does take shots, and he just gets the job done. And I think I will need to jump on the Vertu train shortly. But the only thing that's deterring me away is that Roma is about to hit a really tough run of fixtures. Looking at their fixture run coming up, they do have Empoli, which obviously is a good fixture. And if you want to bring him in for this week, I'd say that's a good fixture to bring him in. The next 4 weeks after that, you have Juventus, Napoli, a bit of a break in Cagliari, but then you have AC Milan after that. Those are matchups that I really like. Yes, Vertu might get a goal or an assist or somewhere in there, but it's not as surefire as some other matchups. Whereas after that, he has Venezia, Genoa, Torino, Bologna. So 4 good fixtures after that. So I'm kind of looking into getting a player like Vertu from Roma at about game week 11 right now. I know that's planning kind of far in advance, but that's kind of where I'm thinking of going with that. João Pedro, I transferred him out for Dybala, and I feel like it would be kind of silly to transfer him back in. I don't bank that much money by doing that, only another 0.2 mil, so it makes other moves a little harder. It's just he is an attacker at a midfield position. Playing Venezia this week, like you got a good chance for some returns there. I wouldn't be surprised if some people that have João Pedro are captaining him even this week. But it's not a consistent good run of fixtures, I don't think, in order to make me want to make that my transfer this week. So that is a good option for people that are maybe transferring out of Dybala, or I don't know why you would transfer out Insigne, but someone or if you have the money in the bank and you're transferring out a midfielder to bring him in, I don't think that's a bad call at all. He's having a good season so far, and I don't think that'll change. I just don't think he's the right player for me to bring in right now. Diaz, a player that I should have brought in like what was that, 3 weeks ago ish, where I was deciding which Milan player to bring in, and I picked Leao, and he's like done nothing. So I am thinking of bringing him in now. They do have a tough matchup against Atalanta this week, but after that they have, I think, 3 or 4 good fixtures after that. If I just quickly go and double check the fixture list one more time. So yeah, Atalanta this week, but then they got Hellas, they have Bologna and Torino after that. So good chances for attacking returns there afterwards. That's why I'm thinking Diaz, and I do have to say that he's probably my front runner right now for choosing who I'm going with. Okay, so that just makes sense as well. He's been starting every game. The last player that I am considering is Chiesa. And before you go with just the Juve bias, because I am a Juve fan after all, I've never hit that, you kind of get that best of both worlds where you're banking 1.1 mil, if you're me, going from 10 down to 8.9. So there is that. There is also the fact that if Dybala, and from what we see here today with, sorry, I just had the Champions League game on that's going on right now, Morata is not in either. And so that means Chiesa kind of has a striking role right now. They might play Moise Kean, and that is possible. I'm sure Chiesa is still playing a very high attacking role as one of the ball is going to be going through him a lot. So I do think that's possible. The flip side that what you could say is they're losing one of their major playmakers, and maybe they don't think that they'd be scoring as many goals in general. So yeah, maybe Chiesa might be one of the more or the better chance to get one of those goals. Goals might not be coming based on how much talent they've lost up front. Although Chiesa has scored against Chelsea here, fitting into that role. So that is another player that I'm looking at. If I were to probably pick an order of who I'm going to bring in what order, if I were to pick them and rank them, I'd say Diaz is going to be my first one. You save much more in the bank. I can upgrade Pasalic at that point, hopefully, to someone else. I could maybe even end up going Dybala down to Diaz, and then closer to that game week 11, Pasalic up to Vertu. And then I think that would fit the budget and everything. So that might be what I'm looking at. All of a sudden, instead of 3 reliable midfielders, I'm up to 4. And so that might be the plan that I'm taking there. Let me know what you think out of those 4 midfielders, who you would pick. So I'd probably put it as in Diaz, then Chiesa for me. Vertu, once that fixture swing comes, that's definitely my number 1. And then João Pedro, I think, would be my last choice of the 4, but obviously still a very good midfielder to have fantasy-wise. Okay, let me know in the comments what you think I should do in that situation. And yeah, as far as my starting 11 goes, the only real change I think is going to happen is Diaz is going to be slotting in right here for Dybala or whatever midfield I bring in. I want to make sure I see the rest of the games, figure out if there's any injuries that might not have been said in the Milan game or might happen to Chiesa or anything like that from this game. And we'll take it from there. Okay. So please like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's anything you want. I know my friend over here, Fox, that plays in the league, is actually leading the league right now. He's trying to suggest something. I did comment on that again. If you watch this, check it out. I don't exactly know what you mean. If you wanted me to show the leagues, I do try to show that in the results videos all the time, or the review video. But if you meant something else, let me know. And anything else that I can do to make this experience better for you, I'd be happy to do so. And yeah, so please just like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the Twitter and Instagram page to see when things are posted, updated, and the starting 11s and how the team does. Okay, take care and have a good evening. I'll see you after the game week.